Her image is everywhere. Critic Molly Haskell said she was the embodiment of the 1950s lie, that a woman had no needs, that her only job was to fulfill the needs of men. And Groucho Marx chimed in. He said, well, Marilyn Monroe, she's Mae West, Theda Bara, and Little Bo Peep rolled into one. Her real name was Norma Jean Mortensen, and she was born in Los Angeles on June 1st, 1926. There's some speculation as to who her real father is. Her mother really didn't have the finances to raise a child, so Marilyn grew up with foster parents. And she's working at the factory, and photographer David Conover comes in. He's there to shoot morale-boosting pictures, of the girls at work, and one of his subjects is Marilyn Monroe. And she's now figuring this is the career I should follow, a model. And her husband, James Dougherty's not liking this. He'd rather her be at home, be a housewife, work in the kitchen. She divorces Dougherty. She's already appeared on like 33 magazine covers. The camera absolutely loves her. She goes to 20th Century Fox to get a screen test. She does land a talking role opposite Groucho Marx in what many Marx Brothers fans consider the real last film of the Marx Brothers, Love Happy.
Is there anything I can do for you? What a ridiculous statement.
Mr. Grenion, I want you to help me.
I have a little sand left. What seems to be the trouble?
Some men are following me.
Really? I can't understand why.
Now, there's a lot of buzz about her romantic involvement with retiring baseball giant Joe DiMaggio. She's taking acting more seriously. She winds up in Fritz Lang's 1952 noir, Clash by Night, where she plays a girl working in a fish factory. And to prepare for the role, she actually worked in a fish factory for a while. Then there's Don't Bother to Knock, a terrific thriller with one of the most talented actors in film history, Richard Widmark, where she plays a psychotic babysitter. The Hollywood Reporter is saying she deserves real starring roles. Now then, there's the creepy, suspenseful film noir classic in Technicolor, Niagara. Now, this trailer is going to be in black and white, but...
It's Marilyn Monroe skyrocketing to new dramatic heights. When a man took her loveliness in his arms, he took his life in his hands. Joseph Cotton, helpless in her siren spell. Jean Peters, caught in the destructive whirlpool of another's deceit.
Hello, please.
Now, audiences were really engrossed by Niagara. It's a tense, suspenseful film where the unexpected happens. A lot of groups did not like the sexuality of the film, the fact that there's a lot of implied nudity with Marilyn Monroe. Her and Joe DiMaggio would marry in 1954, but there was conflicts with her and 20th Century Fox. Two of her gripes was that she was not being paid as much as some of the other talent there at Fox, even though she's like the #1 attraction at Fox, and that she could not choose her own projects. She's kind of getting tired of these sex kitten roles. River of No Return. It's an exciting movie. It's her and Robert Mitchum, directed by Otto Preminger. But she said it's a Z-cowboy movie in which the acting takes a backseat to the scenery and the cinemascope process. But it was a big hit. Now, our next film is done with the great director-writer Billy Wilder, who's given us already such films as The Lost Weekend and Sunset Boulevard, Stalag 17. And in this film, she plays the neighbor to a married man who has these sort of like sexual fantasies about her. And one scene that they film on location in New York, he's walking with her and they walk over a subway grating and the subway underneath passes by, sending up a bunch of air, sending her dress flying up in the air. And when they filmed this, and they had like 2,000 spectators watching this, the subway grate image just becomes so iconic. I mean, it's everywhere. It managed to make an appearance in Pulp Fiction, and it's splattered all over newspapers across the world. And the one person who really doesn't like it is Joe DiMaggio. He doesn't like the attention that his wife is getting. Some like it hot. It's one of the funniest movies you'll ever see. If you haven't seen Some Like It Hot, do see it.
Not since the Marx Brothers, so much comedy. Not since the 7-Year Itch, so much Marilyn.
However, the production wasn't all that funny, by Monroe demanding a lot of retakes and clashing with director Billy Wilder, who was also pretty much a perfectionist, but he was going in a different direction than Monroe. A lot of times on the set, everybody's waiting for her to come out of her trailer, and she would not come out of her trailer. For like the scene where they're on the train set, they're all waiting for her to come out of the trailer. So what happens is director Billy Wilder decides to do something of a prank and something to get the production going. And he has one of the actresses that are waiting there come up and sing the song that Marilyn Monroe's supposed to sing. Now, Marilyn hears this from the dressing room, and she comes storming out. She says, okay, let's start filming. Some Like It Hot is released in the spring of 1959, and it's a critical and financial success. It puts Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, Billy Wilder at the top tier. And many critics to this day feel that in 1959, Ben-Hur should not have been the film that just swept the Academy Awards. It should have been Some Like It Hot, that everybody involved should have taken home an award.
Hold it! Here comes the girl who put into movies. Marilyn Monroe.
Next year comes the musical comedy Let's Make Love, where she plays opposite Yves Montand. She chooses her director, the longtime popular George Cukor. It's early 1962, and Marilyn's going to star in a new film, again directed by George Cukor, called Something's Got to Give. Now, this film was never completed. If you want to get an idea what the film would be like, look at the 1940 film with Cary Grant, My Favorite Wife. Something's Got to Give is a remake of that film. Her co-stars would be Dean Martin and Sid Charisse. And again, her medical problems and addiction problems delayed filming. It's being made at 20th Century Fox. So eventually, Something Got to Give is halted. She resumed filming Something's Got to Give with 20th Century Fox, only after they've blasted her in the press as being mentally ill and that they're going to replace her with Lee Remick. Her co-star Dean Martin said, no, I'm only going to do the film with Marilyn Monroe. And they just started filming a little bit more of the film. On the morning of August 5th, 1962, her maid awoke and tried to get into Marilyn's bedroom and would find that she had died. The world goes into shock. Empty medicine bottles are all around her body. Her autopsy showed that she had several times the lethal doses of drugs in her body. Her last completed film was The Misfits, which was also the last completed film of Clark Gable, who would shortly afterwards pass from a heart attack. Why does Marilyn Monroe have such a legacy? You think about the other blonde bombshells from the 1950s, such as Jane Mansfield, Mamie Van Doren, Diana Dors, Anita Ekberg. We don't put them on such a high pedestal as we do Marilyn Monroe. Jane Mansfield starts with some really great films, such as The Girl Can't Help It. Look at her co-stars in the film. And Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter? Really funny film, both brilliantly directed by Frank Tashlin. But within a few years, Jane Mansfield was not really looking for quality work. She was just looking for a paycheck. She's in such like exploitive films as Primitive Love. But Marilyn Monroe, she wisely decided she's going to be around the best. The best publicity men, the best screenwriters, the best directors. You just go down her career. She just wouldn't take a paycheck to be in a film like Castle of Terror or something like that. She just wanted to be in the best. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why she's going to be in the films that are going to really hold up, that can be viewed 20 years afterwards, 50 years afterwards, 100 years afterwards.